Hello, I'm Liz, and I'm going to be showing you how to upload water quality data through the online data entry form on the Chesapeake Data Explorer. Before accessing this function, you will need data to upload and a user account to log into the Data Explorer. Let's get started. To get started, go to the Chesapeake Data Explorer homepage at cmc.vims.edu and log into your account and navigate to the admin area of the Data Explorer. You can access the data upload form from the admin area using either the Upload Data button under Quick Links or going under Data and clicking Upload Water Quality. This will give you the option, if you're a coordinator, to do a bulk file or a form upload. If you're a monitor, this will take you straight to the form. First, select a sampling site from the drop-down list. This list will include all of the sampling locations assigned to your monitoring group. So you can either use the search bar at the top to find a location or scroll down and select the appropriate location. If you don't see your sampling site on this list, contact your program coordinator. Next, you're going to enter the sample date by selecting the correct year up at the top, the correct month, and then the correct day. Next, you're going to enter a sampling time, selecting the hour and then minutes. Next, you're going to enter conditions during sampling. Some monitoring groups collect this, some doesn't. So if you don't collect this, you can skip to the next section. If you do, you're going to first choose a condition set from the drop-down list. If you sample under the Alliance's River Trends program, you're going to select ACB. If you monitor under Alarms program, you're going to select Alarm. And if you don't monitor under either of those programs, you can select All in order to view all of the station conditions available in the database. Use the drop-down menu under each observation to select that value. So we're going to just put in stream flow, weather condition, and tidal stage. If you don't collect the other station conditions, just leave those blank. Next, you're going to see a section for calibration units. Again, your monitoring group may or may not actually record calibration units on the database. So if you do, then fill out this section with the appropriate values. The next section will include all surface sample parameters. Surface samples are samples taken at either 0.3, 0.5, or 1 meters below the surface. The default depth for this section is 0.3 meters, but if you know that your monitoring group samples at a different depth, you can click the blue plus sign at the end of that sentence and select another sampling depth. If you're unsure, then just leave it as 0.3 meters, as that is the default. The list of parameters found in this section is unique to each monitoring group, so only parameters that your monitoring group samples will show up here. So fill in each of the values from your field datasheet as they're written. If you need to enter a duplicate value, you click the blue plus sign next to any of the parameters. So we'll just enter a few values in here. If any of the values that you enter are outside of the appropriate range, you're going to get a warning saying that that value is above the limit for that specific parameter. So you can either change the value back to a value within that range, or you can accept that that's outside of the range if that's the actual value that was given. Some of the parameters will also have qualifier codes. This is most likely in turbidity tube, but can be for any other parameters as well. This is if the actual value that's recorded is greater than or less than the acceptable range for that piece of equipment. So a lot of the times the turbidity tube reading is greater than the actual limit of the turbidity tube. You can also add in any problem codes by selecting the red exclamation point and then selecting the problem code from this drop-down list that appears. For more detailed information on these problem codes and qualifier codes, please visit the Database Users Manual. The next section is depth profile samples. So these are any samples that occur below the surface of the water. And your group may or may not sample these. If your group does not have any depth profile samples, this section will not appear on your field data sheet. So first you're going to have to enter a valid sample depth. So this is any sample depth that's below 0.3 meters. So we'll start with 1.5 meters. And then you're just going to enter the values for each of those parameters. Once you're done, you can add additional sample depths by clicking the button at the bottom. So you would repeat this for each of the sample depths that you use in your monitoring program. Next, you're going to enter any volunteer hours for that sampling event. Start out by clicking the blue plus sign and choosing yourself from the drop-down list that appears. So enter a value for however many hours you spent during that monitoring session. If you monitor with a team and want to add additional team members, click the blue plus sign again and add in their monitoring hours as well. Last, you're going to enter in any additional comments about that sampling event. So this can include quality assurance procedures, any equipment malfunction, or anything else that you would like your program coordinator or data user to know about that sampling event. If you miss any of the required fields during this process, once you click Save, you're going to see a red error message pop up in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. The form will also highlight any of the missing fields in red. Once you fill in the required information, you can then resubmit the form. If your data passes the checks, a green box will appear that says Samples Submitted Successfully. If you have other data sheets to enter, you can click the button to take you back to the sample upload form. Thanks for uploading data to the Chesapeake Data Explorer. Check out our other videos to learn about additional functionality.